First on the court, a look at the starting lineups, and for the Tigers, junior Tristan Burrell coming off a career-high 22 on Thursday night in that win at UConn. And up front, Calvin Godfrey starts again for the injured Austin Nichols. Cincinnati's led by Troy Copain, the sophomore, with 3.5 assists per game, and the one senior on the team, Jermaine Sanders, out of Far Rockaway, New York, gets the start on senior day in place of Shaq Thomas. There is Larry Davis, the associate head coach, 14-7 since taking over from Mick Cronin back on December 20th. And a lot at stake today for Cincinnati. If they win, they wrap up the number 3 seed in the American tournament, which starts later this week in Connecticut. If Cincinnati loses, they fall back to the 4 seed, and they would play Memphis, who's locked into the number 5 spot already, no matter what happens today. Underway in Cincinnati, the Bearcats for the first time this year wearing their red uniforms. Their annual Ring of Red game.
And Memphis starts out in the zone. They won't play a lot of zone. They're mostly a man-to-man team and like to switch a lot because of their great athleticism. If they can keep Cincinnati in the half court, that is really going to help them, because Cincinnati can struggle to score also.
Early turnover by Cincinnati, and that's something to keep in mind today, because when these two teams met back on January 15th in Memphis, the Tigers won by 13, and it was a season-high 20 turnovers for the Bearcats.
And you see Cincinnati picking up full court. They're one of the most effective pressing teams in the country. About 25% of the time, they will press in the full court.
Today's officials, Tom Eads, Ron Groover, and Jamie Luckey. Shaq Goodwin inside, nowhere to go. Back out to Woodson, deep 3. And a foul is called. That's going to go against Tristan Burrell, the junior.
Cincinnati plays 50-50, man-to-man and zone. That was the matchup zone there, and it's very confusing because they push guys off and switch a lot on the perimeter. It's the same way they play their man-to-man defense. So Memphis can't get caught looking, trying to figure out what it is. They've got to run either their man offense or their zone offense every time and not worry about what the defense is doing.
Bearcats have been very tough at home this year, 14-3 and 7-1 at home in league play. Freshman Gary Clark, turnaround off the mark, and Shaq Goodwin clears for the Tigers. Kedrick Johnson quickly up the floor. Tries to find Godfrey inside, but out of bounds and a turnover.
Interestingly, we're seeing Memphis do some things they don't normally do. They're playing a little bit of a matchup zone now, as you see here, kind of showing the zone, switching things up. Almost a mirror image of what Cincinnati's doing on the other end.
Ellis, a Memphis native, sets the high screen. Copain now bounces it in to Clark. Back to Copain with 10 on the shot clock. Cobb has good range. Out to Copain. 3 on the shot clock. His jumper is good. And Cincinnati is on the board first.
Well, good patience there. Nice shot fake. Copain ends up getting something pretty easy. I think both these teams should be running their man-to-man offenses against these zones. There's a little bit too much standing around for me. Not enough screening of the zone.
Corner 3 by Woodson. He's now 0 for 2, and Sanders the rebound. Keep in mind, a noon local game, which is 11 o'clock for Memphis, but also because we turn the clocks forward, it feels like 10 o'clock for Memphis.
And, Andrew, Memphis had a very tough, physical, hard-fought game against UConn that they won the other night by 1. So this is a very quick turnaround from Thursday night.
The senior Sanders for 3. The fans and his teammates love Jermaine Sanders, a 4-year player, lefty, not having a great year statistically, but he's still a very important part of this Bearcats team. Goodwin puts Memphis on the board.
You know, Goodwin has not had a great year, and I think a big reason was because Austin Nichols has been so good, and he's an inside player. It was too congested. Now with Nichols out, look for Goodwin to be a better player in this particular offense.
Sanders took another 3, and Ellis tracks down the rebound.
Now Memphis is straight man, which I don't blame him for making a change-up right there.
Sanders, baseline. A lot of contact, no call, and a turnover. Here comes Burrell. Burrell was lights out against UConn on Thursday. 4 3-pointers.
You see this Memphis offense, there's a lot of standing around right now, and it's much easier to match up with the team if you're playing matchup zone if they're standing around as opposed to moving. Now they're trying to get a little bit of motion going.
And a travel on Shaq Goodwin.
Well, you're going to see a good penetration right there into the gap, a shot fake, and a pretty easy shot by Copain. It all started with the dribble penetration they got. Then an inside-out three. The best way to get three-point shots is dribble penetration and kicks, or throw it inside and have it kicked out. That's what they did on that one.
And how about Sanders? He was 19% shooting threes in conference play this year, and he knocked down his first on senior day.
But you know what, Andrew? That was a really good one. So maybe he's got to keep to shooting good ones and not taking some that are pretty tough for him to make.
Alley-oop to Ellis. Off the feed from Sanders.
That was not good defense. No pressure on the ball and allowing a guy to get behind you. You've always got to see what's going on behind you. Your head needs to be on a swivel, especially if you're playing zone.
Burrell in rhythm three. And the rebound to Cobb. Cobb, jumper. Oh, and Cincinnati shooting the ball well out of the gates. Timeout, Memphis. And what did you use to tell your guys on senior day with all the emotion in the building?
Well, you know, there were times that you were happy about senior day, and there were times that you were sad. When Kerry Kittles graduated, I was really sad on senior day. I told him, listen, don't worry about it. I used to hate going to the arenas of guys who had great seniors to play on senior day, without a doubt.
Second straight game that Memphis is taking on a team on its senior day. They beat UConn and Ryan Boatwright on Thursday. Godfrey. And Memphis is 1 for 6 shooting to start. Cobb wide open. And a turnover on Memphis by Godfrey. Cincinnati up by 10. Cronin did not stay for the game as doctors advised him not to attend games. So Cronin said he was going back to watch the game in his living room, which means he's watching us, so we say hello to Mick Cronin. Well, I have to like what he sees so far.
Definitely. I go back 30 years with Larry Davis. He was a great high school coach at Oak Hill Academy, and one of my great players, Rod Strickland, went there when I went to become an assistant at Villanova in 1984.
Not many guys that you don't know these days. Cobb, 3 more.
I'm going to tell you this, Andrew. Memphis is definitely still in Connecticut. They have not found shooters. They haven't gotten back in transition. These are the easiest baskets Cincinnati could possibly get. This Memphis team is definitely asleep right now.
Clark got a piece of that shot. Cobb pushes up ahead. He scored 8 straight points. Dishes to Sanders, and a foul is called. The CBS Sports app is the only app Memphis and Cincinnati fans need. You can get your scores, real-time alerts, expert picks, and bracket games and more. Download the CBS Sports app now. Here is the senior, Jermaine Sanders, at the free throw line. The only senior on the Cincinnati roster. Native of Far Rockaway, New York, attended Rice High School. And the rallying cry throughout the last couple days here in Cincinnati was, let's send Jermaine out on a high note. And his parents in attendance before the game and getting the start today.
Well, they've got to start attacking much more aggressively, but really the problem was on defense. They're playing against a team that struggles to score.
Good play by Clark. Cincinnati in transition. Sanders! Tipped in, but that's not going to count. Clark interfered with that. But it was Clark on the other end that made a great defensive play.
Yeah, that was a great steal, but really, Markel Crawford sleeping there. You got to come and meet that pass. If you're waiting for passes against Cincinnati, you're going to be in deep trouble. Same thing against this pressure. Somebody has to come and meet the ball.
Clark got a hand on that one as well. Now King's jumper is good. A much-needed basket for Memphis. Memphis, such a young, new-look team this year for Josh Pastner. 9 first-year players. And we're starting to get it going in late January, early February, and then Austin Nichols, who's one of the top players in the conference, went down with an ankle injury.
Well, they got off to a bad start. In their first 9 games, they expected a lot more from Kedron Johnson, who averaged 13 a game at Vanderbilt. His first 9 games, he had 4 games with no points. Struggled very early.
And we have basket interference again, and then a little extracurricular afterwards. Now, in the first meeting between these two in January, Octavius Ellis mixed it up with Calvin Godfrey. And now watch Ellis down low with Shaq Goodwin.
Nothing there.
No foul was called, but Ellis will sit down. A native of Memphis, played at Whitehaven High School. Oh, bad pass by Goodwin. Cobb the steal on the lay, and that is just way too easy.
Well, they don't realize that Cincinnati is now playing man-to-man. That's not a zone press. They're very confused at everything Cincinnati's doing.
Crawford misses in close. Memphis with 5 turnovers already. Kevin Johnson has checked in. He's got good range from the outside. He'll take a shot here. A little bit short. Out of bounds. No, Johnson saves it and pushes up ahead to King. 5 turnovers for Memphis and 4 points. Johnson from deep. King fighting inside. And Johnson chases it down for Cincinnati. Jack Thomas, 16-footer. Cincinnati can't miss.
This is like you're playing a pickup game in the schoolyard, really, right now, the way Memphis is playing defense, especially in transition. This is so easy, it's unbelievable. Talk about being a team that struggles offensively like Cincinnati, even though they've been better lately. This is the perfect cure for them.
Burrell tied up, out of bounds to Memphis when we come back. Tigers in a deep hole here in Cincinnati. A tough go for Josh back in Memphis as the fans expect more.
You know what you got to know? Don't follow John Calipari. That's the motto there, and that's the biggest problem. Look at his record. It's unbelievable, but look who he's following. What John Calipari did there was amazing.
Memphis coughs it up, and then Cincinnati gives it right back.
I was 2 guys away from John Calipari at UMass, and it was tough.
Woodson. And nothing going Memphis' way. They're 2 for 11 from the floor. 6 turnovers for the Tigers.
They do turn it over. I mean, they average over 13 a game, but this is obviously bordering on ridiculous.
Thomas spinning, shooting. The tip by Moore is no good, and King comes away with it.
They need to get this ball in the paint a little bit more. They're playing catch on the perimeter a lot. They got to make some splits with the dribble or throw the ball into the foul line area.
Johnson with a 3 from the outside. Kedron Johnson, 35% from long range this season, making his 13th straight start.
They got to start getting it done on this end of the floor. I mean, Cincinnati averages 62 points a game, and they have 21 with 10 to go in the first half.
Freshman Quadri Moore passes over to Johnson. Inside 10 on the shot clock. Johnson, and that's a travel.
Much better possession that time defensively for Memphis. Working at staying in front of their guy, not allowing dribble penetration, because Cincinnati either has scored in transition or has scored off dribble penetration and kicks. That's what Memphis has to start locking up.
Farad Cobb gets a breather. He's off to a hot start, already in double figures with 10 points.
He's played great in those last 4 games, as we showed before the game.
And those 10 points came in a 2.5-minute span. Just past the midway point of the first half, Cincinnati trying to lock up the number 3 seed for the upcoming American Conference Tournament.
I think they're in the switching man-to-man now. They really disguise those defenses very well.
Fouls on Kevin Johnson, the sophomore.
You know, when a team switches on you that much, you have to slip your screens. You've got to hit the guy screening, hit the screener more often than the cutter.
And another foul on Cincinnati. Just their second, as we highlighted earlier. They only average 14 fouls per game. That's 11th fewest in the country.
Well, interestingly, Andrew, they will pressure you full court, but their half-court defense is usually packed in around the three-point line.
Get ready, America. There's a new face in Late Night. The Late Late Show with James Corden premieres Monday, March 23rd, only CBS. Kedron Johnson transferred from Vanderbilt, but did not play basketball last year. Left the Vanderbilt program and just took a year off before coming here to Memphis. And early in the season, he really wasn't in game shape because he hadn't played a game in 2 years. And now, getting more minutes, starting more consistently. And Johnson has helped Memphis finish a little bit better here in February than they did look in January.
Still not in great shape, and they expected a lot from this kid. As I said, he averaged 13.5 in the SEC, and he comes out of the gate and barely could score 2 points his first 6 games.
He scored 5 straight points for Memphis as it's 21-9, 9:20 to go first half.
Memphis now in a packed-in, switching man-to-man defense.
Ellis. Godfrey got a hand on that. Now Clark with 3 on the shot clock. Ellis trying to tip it up and a shot clock violation. So we have seen Memphis pick up its defensive intensity the last couple of trips.
Yeah, last 2 possessions, very good. And you know how it started? They start making a shot or 2, and now they start becoming more engaged. But you have to be engaged defensively, even if you're playing poor on offense.
Cincinnati has 3 turnovers in its last 4 trips. Cutting and scoring is King. Nick King, a sophomore out of Memphis, attended East High School. And it's a 7-0 run for the Tigers. Once again, shot clock inside 10. Johnson with 5. Nice move, couldn't finish. And now Woodson pushes up ahead. He'll stop and pop. And Shaq Thomas, the rebound for Cincinnati. Shaq Thomas, the nephew of former NBA player Tim Thomas, a guy that Coach knows pretty well.
Yeah, Tim Thomas played for me at Villanova, was a terrific player, played the NBA for a long time.
He's got the ball here. Native of Patterson, New Jersey. Johnson, left open. Can't do that.
And Kedron Johnson kind of gave up on that. He was there to give some help, and he just, and he didn't even run over and get a hand up and make an attempt. That was way too easy.
4-3 of the game for Cincinnati. Johnson, in his last 4 games, shooting 56% from deep. Burrell turnaround.
And Johnson played for one of my former players, also Michael Bradley.
As I said, there's not many people you don't know in college basketball today. Good follow there by Burrell. 24-13. Johnson played here in Cincinnati at Summit Country Day High School. Inside 7 minutes to go in the first half. Game 1 of our triple header today on CBS. Ellis coughs it up. And now Ellis still behind the play. Memphis has numbers. No look pass. Godfrey throws it down. Timeout, Cincinnati.
That's something Cincinnati does that often. That's why Larry Davis is. That's why getting the ball into the teeth of the defense is so important. It causes people to not know what they should do. And unless you really are good at talking it out, you're going to lose somebody like Cincinnati did there.
Memphis started 2 of 11 shooting. Since then, they've gone 4 of 7, turning up the defensive pressure. An 11-3 run for the Tigers. Seven on the shot clock. Ellis trying to muscle his way past Godfrey. A lot of contact and a foul against Memphis. Timeout on the floor. And they both came on the same possession. It's incredible the kind of defense they play and the amount of fouls they commit.
And the other thing that Cincinnati does, they run offense that kind of matches up with their defense. They're one of the slowest playing teams in the country when it comes to possession. So they make everything hard on both ends. They'll move the ball on offense and hold it for a long time. Then they'll make you do the same thing on the other end. Great at controlling tempo.
Copain on the perimeter. Down low, Ellis jumper is good. He only had 2 points in the first meeting at Memphis, but Octavius Ellis has been playing very well of late, averaging 11 points per game over his last 4.
Cincinnati now is straight man-to-man.
Woodson is their top three-point threat, shooting 39% from deep. You got to get to the shot clock.
You got to get the ball reversed to the other side of the floor against Cincinnati. You play on one side, you're dead.
King grazes the front of the rim. Copain comes away with it. Numbers for the Bearcats. Copain bounces it to Cobb for 3. This time it doesn't go, but an offensive rebound by Ellis. Over to Sanders. The senior knocks down another.
I'm going to say that on the 5 threes that they've made, I don't know if there was a hand within 10 feet on any of them. Now, that was an offensive rebound, so it becomes tough, but not doing a great job guarding the 3 right now for Memphis.
Coach Tristan Burrell is hobbling down the floor. The Memphis junior is clearly injured right now. He can barely put any pressure on his left leg. He's trying to gut it out. Ellis inside. The tip no good by Clark. And Burrell is trying to get down the floor.
They were very lucky there. Ellis had him posted up underneath the rim. He's got to get in front of him if he's going to be that deep.
Memphis has already used a timeout, so Josh Pastner trying to hold off for a whistle and get Burrell out of there. We're in a break zone as Godfrey finishes with the left hand.
That's a couple of trips for Burrell hobbling on that leg.
Tough kid out of Albany, New York, coming off a career-high 22 on Thursday. On the shot clock. Ellis back out Sanders. And Clark with 5. And a foul is called. And Memphis finally gets the whistle they need. But they still trail by 12 in Cincinnati.
If you end up not getting in, definitely not an experience you want to have.
And for Cincinnati, a lot of people think that they're in. We talked about it off the top. They're looking good, but they'll sleep a little bit better if they can win this one. Matthew Perry and Thomas Lennon star in TV's #1 new comedy, The Odd Couple, Thursday after The Big Bang Theory, only CBS. Good sign for Memphis as Burrell, who we thought was going to have to come out of the game. Now, he's still hobbling up the floor, but he has stayed out there.
He took a couple of big hits in the UConn game, too, Andrew, and he's obviously a thin kid, but pretty tough.
Clark made that free throw. He's now the 7th different Bearcat to score today.
Matchup zone. Now you see the Cincinnati kids all pointing at every guy on the perimeter to make sure they don't lose somebody.
Burrell too strong on that 3. Sanders up ahead to Copain. Clark calling for it, gets it. Back out Cobb from deep. And Godfrey with the weak shot board. Burrell off glass and good.
And he's not right. I mean, you can see he's still hobbling on that foot. That was a heck of a play on one leg.
Memphis shorthanded without Austin Nichols, re-injured an ankle injury last Saturday against Tulsa. He's been ruled out for the American Conference Tournament. And if there's postseason basketball, they'll reevaluate his status as Clark is fouled inside.
Well, you know, Andrew, it's rare where you see a game where you get the stat sheet of each team before the game and there isn't a double-figure scorer playing, because Austin Nichols was the only double-figure scorer for Memphis. So not a double-figure scorer on the season in the game.
Gary Clark, the freshman, back at the line. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Greg, Clark, Seth, and Doug will get you caught up on the latest tournament news. Plus, they will be joined live in studio by Scott Barnes, the chair of the men's basketball committee. They'll be firing away questions about the bubble teams to Scott. That's all coming up on AT&T at the half. 2 minutes to go in the first. Good one, wild pass. Godfrey corrals it. And a foul is called on Cincinnati inside.
That play by Goodwin didn't look right. I mean, to me, I'm sitting there saying that's got to be a travel.
Instead, they call Ellis for the foul. And it's Memphis ball. Goodwin to the hoop and the finish.
Sometimes when you lunge for a steal and you miss it, that's what happens.
14 of Memphis's 21 points have come in the paint, including that one by Goodwin. And we have a push right in front of Josh Pastner and a foul against Godfrey.
That's the one place you never want to stop your dribble when somebody's coming after you and pressing you, is crossing half court and stopping right in that corner, because the half court line's like another defender. You can't go back there because it's a backcourt. Do not stop your dribble as soon as you cross half court on the sideline.
Been a frustrating couple of days for Josh Pastner with the officials. In that physical win over UConn on Thursday, the Huskies shot 22 free throws. Memphis only went to the line twice.
I saw that game. That was a very, very physical game, too.
Clark fakes cross-court. Cobb. He'll drive in. Pass deflected. Copain comes away with it in the corner. Now he goes baseline and lays it in.
Just look at all the Cincinnati kids, Andrew, pointing to guys, making sure they don't lose anybody in this matchup zone. Good communication. To play that defense, you really have to communicate.
Goodwin bounces it. Godfrey wasn't ready for it. Another turnover by Memphis. That's their 7th.
It had been a while. They had kind of settled down a little bit. That was their first turnover in quite a while.
11-second differential between game clock and shot clock. Troubling stat for Memphis. When they are trailing at the half this year, they are 0-6. They have not come back from a halftime deficit. Copain directing traffic. The senior Sanders has had a nice first half in his final game here at Fifth Third Arena. Clark with 5 on the shot clock. Has to put up a shot. Tipped up. Clark gets it back. 10 seconds to go.
They should be pulling this out and getting the last shot.
Shot clock turned off. Sanders forces up a 3. 2 seconds to go, and Godfrey will just dribble it out.
He had plenty of time, that's for sure. I don't know why Sanders shot that with 5 to go.
That's the end of the first half with Cincinnati leading 34-21. Bearcats.
Somebody else picks it up.
7 different players have scored for the Bearcats, and their last 6 field goals of the first half were scored by 6 different players. Memphis with the ball to start the second half. The Tigers are locked into the number 5 seed for the upcoming American tournament, but Cincinnati with a lot at stake. A win moves them to the 3 spot. Alley-oop to Burrell out of the gates.
Great call at halftime by Josh Pastner. Set play on the lob.
Now some pressure from Memphis. And Cobb into the front court. Cobb nowhere to go. Tracked down in front of the Cincinnati bench by Clark. And now Copain will set it up. Cobb led all scorers in the first half with 10 points. Feeds Ellis with 10 on the shot clock. Turnaround left hand. Count it, and the foul.
Well, this is a nice move inside by Octavius Ellis, who's really also picking up his scoring big time.
His father, Jarrell Horn, played at Memphis in the early 90s. And growing up in Memphis, Ellis was a huge Tigers fan. Used to attend all the games. Wanted to go there, but ended up here at Cincinnati. Left after his freshman year to go to junior college down in Texas at Trinity Valley, but came back this year, and he leads the team, averaging just under 10 points per game. Out of bounds, and it will stay with the Tigers.
Well, this was a great play coming out of halftime, and you're going to see here, with the flash there by Goodwin, brings that defender there, and then the back screen for the lob.
5 on the shot clock for the Tigers. Sanders gets a hand on that one. Woodson's going to have to put one up. He's not aware of it. Goodwin just lets it go and connects from deep. Just the 4th three-pointer made this season by Shaq Goodwin.
The beginning of this half, when you're down, is huge, and Memphis looking like they're trying to make this thing a game.
Straight away, over to Copain, now 5 on the shot clock. Cobb nowhere to go. Copain has to force one up. Ellis with the offensive board. Back out Sanders for 3. Ellis another offensive rebound, and he's got it. Wow, Octavius Ellis.
And both of them were on Avery Woodson. Now, granted, Avery Woodson's a lot smaller, but you got to push him out if you're going to box him out.
Cincinnati could not find the touch, and Memphis comes the other way, down by 11. 6 offensive boards for Cincinnati. Goodwin was feeling it from deep. I don't know if Josh Pastner wants him to feel it from deep, considering he's 4 for 16 on the season.
In this situation, you're Memphis, you got to go 2 by 2. We always used to tell our players when we were down by a pretty good number, 2 by 2. You can't hit home runs and do it all at once.
Jermaine Sanders getting the start on senior day, and he produced 8 points in the first half. This is the freshman Clark, and he gets the roll.
I like that kid a lot. He's going to be a really good player. He's the 2nd leading freshman rebounder in the league at 7 rebounds a game.
Woodson drives in, misses the lay-in. They fight for it, and Clark comes away with it. He brings it up the floor. Still has it, finds Copain. Could not use the glass, and Goodwin with the rebound. Johnson through ball. Cold shooting start to this second half for both teams.
That was really a flat three-point shot. No arc on that whatsoever.
Markel Crawford at the scorers table for Memphis. Now listen, the paint drives in for 2. Tough move by Octavius Ellis.
Great double screen there for Octavius Ellis. A set play. Little too easy. Memphis D, not great there.
Goodwin with the answer at the other end, and Josh Pastner with a quick timeout. 16:03 to go, second half. Memphis trying to claw.
Ryan Boatwright, who's arguably one of the best 2 or 3 best players in this league, and the kind of guy who could put a team on his back, as he did with Shabazz Napier last year to win the national title. Don't count them out. They did 5 games in 5 days a few years ago in the Big East tournament.
Alley-oop and Clark! Oh, boy! They have high hopes for the freshman Gary Clark. And he got way up there on that dunk.
Well, that's a good way to break pressure. Score right away. That'll make a team think twice about pressing.
The freshman Gary Clark bringing some fireworks here in this. And Davis has said he doesn't want to let Mick down. He wants to caretake this program and take them to the NCAA so the program doesn't skip a beat, and he's done exactly that.
Well, this guy's been a coach for a long time. He was a successful head coach at Furman for 9 years, a really successful high school coach before that. So he's not afraid to move those 18 inches over to his left and be in the big seat right now as long as he has to be.
Godfrey at the line. He picked up his third foul in the first minute of this second half. Has stayed in for Josh Pastner.
Yeah, I think they are at the do-or-die time, taking him out to save him for one. They've got to get back in this thing now.
And the big guys, Clark and Ellis for Cincinnati, have scored 12 with the Bearcats' last 14 points. A turnover here. Godfrey coast to coast. Crawford cleans it up. Tristan Burrell has stayed in there despite hobbling in that first half. Clark driving it on Godfrey. Turnaround right hand is good.
You know, somebody's got to come and get him at some point. You can't let a guy just back you down, back you down, back you down. Something's got to happen defensively there.
Larry Davis said we put a lot on Gary Clark's plate this year, especially for a freshman, but he has handled it, and he has shown tremendous poise in this his first collegiate season.
He's going to be a star.
Clark 3 for 3 this half, and we have a whistle and a foul going against Jermaine Sanders of Cincinnati.
You know, you don't see a freshman so he's backing his guy down. Then when he gets him exactly where he wants, he makes his move just very poised on the court.
The senior Sanders comes out, and Shaq Thomas checks in for Cincinnati. Shaq Goodwin with the ball here, shooting and scoring.
If they're going to get back into this game, Shaq Goodwin's got to start playing the way people expected him to play coming into this season.
Goodwin in double figures for the 13th time this year. He's got 11 points. Goodwin had the game-winning hoop Thursday with 8 seconds left to beat UConn. Right. Goodwin has scored 7 this half.
Right now it would be significant for Memphis to try and get this thing under double figures.
Copain dribbled it off his foot out of bounds. So it's Memphis basketball.
You know, a lot of times we talk about teams being aggressive on defense. You have to be aggressive on offense, too. And I think Memphis, more aggression with the ball in terms of trying to get into the paint would really help them. Can't get to the foul line against this team. It's very difficult, but Memphis not really challenging this defense either.
Where do they miss Austin Nichols more, on the offensive end or the defensive end?
I think offensively, even though today they got torched from the perimeter, so I don't think Nichols had a lot to do with that.
Johnson just misses the 3, and Burrell came flying in.
Yeah, you can't hold on to the rim with one hand and throw it back in with the other hand.
Can't do that? That's not allowed?
No, not allowed.
Now they're going to review for a possible technical foul on Burrell.
For what?
For grabbing the rim.
Oh, for grabbing the rim. I thought that was just basket interference. Unless they're thinking he did it on purpose. I don't think that's a technical foul. It's just Gall's basket's good.
They did call it technical for hanging on the rim.
For hanging on the rim? Now, let me ask you a question. We saw a couple of dunks in this game already that guys hung a lot worse than that, where the rim came down. They almost did half a chin-up. I'm a little surprised. I thought that was basket interference, not a technical foul. I wouldn't call that hanging on the rim.
So Burrell called for a technical. He also was called for a phantom call in Thursday's game against UConn. So he's had some tough calls go against him the last couple of years.
Yeah, that was a beauty. And yeah, technically, was he on the rim there? Yeah, but we've seen guys on dunks hang on the rim a lot more than that.
So 47-33, and it's Cincinnati basketball. Goodwin got a hand on it. Burrell quickly for two. That's how quick Memphis can explode in transition.
Nice pressure that time by Memphis.
Oh, another steal. And now Crawford called for a foul. Pastner can't believe that one.
You're going to see Memphis here with a good job of getting to the middle guy. And if you're Cincinnati, if you're that middle guy against the pressure, you got to come and meet the ball. He allowed Shaq Goodwin to be able to go over his back to tip that ball away and steal. Come and meet the ball when your team is getting pressed.
And then Goodwin hung on the rim a little bit. 7 minutes in, second half.
I've seen worse hangs than that technical foul for sure.
Ellis, the reverse lay-in. And he's in double figures with 11. 7 this half for Ellis. Johnson, long two. Keidron Johnson knocks it down. Nearly a turnover there. Thomas was able to make the catch. Now he's trying to get rid of it. Ellis. And Godfrey closes quickly.
Throwing a lot of lob passes against this pressure.
Johnson inside, front of the rim, tipped out to Burrell. Holding momentum on Memphis' side right now, despite the technical. Until that, Johnson, the steal. Johnson lays it in.
That was such a bad pass. It's unbelievable.
Godfrey with the left-handed answer. Up and down we go.
I'll tell you what would drive you nuts when you coach is you score, and then you give up an easy basket right after you score.
Memphis is 8 of 13 shooting in this second half. They're looking for a defensive stop here. Cobb, the little runner, doesn't have the touch. Goodwin chases it down. Here comes Shaq Goodwin. Nice pass to Crawford. Memphis getting it done in transition.
That was a great pass.
The lead is down to 10. And nearly another turnover. And then Cobb is fouled at midcourt by Keidron Johnson. Timeout on the floor. Memphis not going away. They trip. Tulsa plays SMU later today for the regular season title in the American. So you're saying that Tulsa could win the regular season title and still not get into the tournament?
Even though if they do beat SMU, who's got a very good RPI, that might be the thing that puts them in. Not so much winning the regular season, but beating SMU as a good win.
Well, Memphis has picked up its rhythm on the offensive end. They made a total of 9 field goals in the first half. They already have 9 here in the second half. Ellis underneath, and he's fouled. And if that's on Godfrey, that would be number 4. And it is the 4th foul on Calvin Godfrey with 10:51 to go.
And, you know, Godfrey got the foul, but Shaq Goodwin turned his head once again and lost Ellis, and Godfrey had to come over and help. Shaq Goodwin has really turned his head a couple of times and gotten beat.
Remember, Godfrey is starting for the injured Austin Nichols, so that's a spot for Josh Pastner where they do not have a lot of depth, and he is keeping, for now, Godfrey on the floor with 4 fouls.
That's he's taking a big chance. I would take him out for 2 minutes and see what happens.
Academy Award winner Patricia Arquette stars in the next generation of CSI Cyber. New episode Wednesday at 10/9 Central, only CBS. Godfrey remains in with the 4 fouls, and it really just speaks to the bench right now for Memphis. Johnson surveying the scene for Memphis. Bounces it to Godfrey with the 4 fouls. Matched up with Clark. Godfrey, turnaround over Clark and good.
That was a really good move by Godfrey. Took his time, was under control, makes the jump hook. Doesn't look like a guy who struggles to score.
Shooting 2s this half. Memphis is 9 of 11. Shooting 3s, they're 1 of 4. They've gone inside today for a lot of their points. 28 points in the paint for the Tigers. Midway point of the second half here in Cincinnati. Game one of our triple header on CBS. 5 on the shot clock for the Bearcats. Copain, he's been kind of quiet today. Loses that one, turns it over. Burrell up ahead to Crawford. He chases it down, but has to pull it back out. Burrell for 3. Back out to Crawford. Fresh shot clock for the Tigers. Goodwin on the blocks. Turnaround, blocked by Ellis. And a foul is called late. Ooh, that looked like a block for Ellis. We'll take another look, but instead he's called for the foul.
Yeah, that looked like a tough one there. And, you know, Goodwin is going to the baseline. He's behind the basket almost. Wow.
Second foul on Ellis. And now number 2, Shaq Goodwin at the line. Tonight on CBS, see why the New York Times calls the new drama Battle Creek a delight. From the creators of Breaking Bad and House, Battle Creek tonight at 10/9 Central, only CBS. Shaq Goodwin playing in his 100th career game today. Back at the line for one more. Comes up empty.
Chance to get it on the double figures that time. Chance gone.
Memphis 3 of 6 at the line today, while Cincinnati has only missed once. Coriante DeBerry has checked in for the Bearcats. Once again, the shot clock at 5. Copain guarded by Burrell. Copain on the drive. Swatted out of bounds by Godfrey. And 1 second remains on the shot clock.
Well, you can expect to see some kind of lob here, I would think. Memphis has to call out these screens and put a body on somebody so they don't give up the lob. There it is.
He's got to be careful not to foul. There's the lob.
That's amazing.
Well, we all knew it was coming, but Memphis got caught watching. Clark now 4 for 4 this half. So 2 missed free throws and then a bucket with 1 on the shot clock for Cincinnati. Burrell spinning, shooting. DeBerry got a piece of that one. Back out to Godfrey. Shot clock does not reset. Johnson to the hoop. Crazy shot, and he is fouled.
Well, let's take a look at this lob with 1 second to go. The bottom line is you have to stop it right there. Godfrey is not putting a body on Clark and no pressure on the ball. When those two things happen, something bad's going to happen to the defense. Godfrey's got to be close to his man, and he's got to be seeing the ball all the time and put a body on him.
Well, you can see, and if he didn't want to pick up that 5th foul, that he wouldn't have been muscling down low, but he wasn't even looking at his man. That's the problem.
Yeah, if he's just looking at the ball and his man, they might not throw the lob. That was the key.
Cincinnati looking for its 5th straight win heading into the conference tournament. Bearcats a 21-9 record. Copain just 4 points today. Here's Clark. He's had the hot hand in the second half. Hands off for Johnson from deep. Way off the mark. DeBerry cleans it up. And again, with the shot clock winding down, Cincinnati scores.
And again, Calvin Godfrey not doing a good job of boxing out. I know it was a bad miss, but you still have to have a body on DeBerry.
And now Nick King is hopped off the bench for Memphis. You'd think he'd come in for Godfrey. 7.5 to go in the second. Burrell to Shaq Goodwin.
Aggressiveness off the dribble will pay off. That's what Burrell did there.
Copain in trouble, and a foul is called in front of the Memphis bench. That takes us to break. Bearcats trying to hold on at home. can't cut it down to single digits.
And I can't tell you how important that is, Andrew. When you've been down the whole game, 14, 15, 18, it's a psychological barrier to get it under 10 and can be a motivating factor for you to feel like, hey, we can still do this. Getting it under 10, I think, is important.
Cincinnati breaks the press. Memphis needs a stop. Godfrey has come out and King is checked in for the Tigers. With the finish. Crawford with a big three on the other end.
You know, so often you see a guy lunge for a steal and he's off the court and then they throw it into DeBerry and he ends up with a dunk. If you go for a steal, you got to get it.
Johnson drives right in baseline, and he is fouled from behind by Nick King.
I mean, you're going to see lunging. I don't know where Shaq Goodwin is going, thinking they had a steal or something. Not a great job by Shaq Goodwin just leaving DeBerry alone.
And DeBerry unofficially has the largest hands in the world. This guy has got massive hands. And he threw that one down with authority. Johnson misses the free throw.
And with the way Memphis has played in this game, they're still hanging around where they're in earshot of being able to do this.
The lead is 11. Ellis back in for DeBerry. Just swallowing up his teammates with high fives. Let's see if Memphis can cut it down to single digits. Johnson. And a tough rebound inside by Ellis. Time is on Cincinnati's side. 6 minutes to go. Bearcats trying to lock down the number 3 seed in the American Conference Tournament, which starts later this week in Hartford. And a whistle down low on Shaq Goodwin. That's his second. Next Sunday, who's in, who's out, who's playing whom, and when? Get it all and get it fast on the NCAA Basketball Championship Selection Show right here on the road to the Final Four, CBS Sports.
You know, it's interesting, Andrew. In my house, Selection Sunday was like a holiday. My kids growing up, they always thought it was Christmas, Easter, Selection Sunday, like all the same.
It is for a lot of people.
Yes.
7 days away. Cincinnati, this half, shooting free throws is 7 out of 8, while Memphis is 2 for 6 from the line here in the second half. Ellis front rims the second. 61-49. Crawford steps into a three. Goodwin the offensive board. Back up with it, and the foul.
Now that was a man's rebound. Shaq Goodwin coming in and saying, this one is going to be mine. And he comes flying in there, and then he ends up finishing it.
Foul is on Shaq Thomas, his first. But Memphis now 2 of 7 from the line in the second half. Ellis, high pass, Goodwin the steal.
How many of those passes have we seen? It's like every pass has so much air under it. It's ridiculous by Cincinnati.
Lob in tennis. There's got to be more authority on that. Johnson misfires from deep. And another steal. Crawford behind the back to Johnson. Dishes to Burrell off glass. He missed it.
Oh, wow.
What a big opportunity there for Memphis, and they still can't cut it to single digits.
Unbelievable. And a great pass by Markel Crawford over his head. And Burrell can't finish that.
Inside 5 to play. Burrell, aggressive play, almost had the steal. Johnson recovers. Gary Clark at the scorer's table for Cincinnati. Sanders, the senior. His third three of the game in his final home game here in Cincinnati. Goodwin, not that time. Burrell comes in, out of bounds to Cincinnati.
A great steal here. How about the pass by Crawford? Keegan Johnson takes it in. A good pass to Burrell. Why he hesitated there, I have no idea. That's why he missed the shot. He should have laid that right away.
Loudest this crowd has been today at Fifth Third Arena. When Mick Cronin addressed the crowd before the game, he made sure to thank the students, many of which drove to Tulane last week to cheer on the Bearcats. New Orleans is a nice road trip, but still, that's not a short drive from Cincinnati. Johnson can't knock that one down, but Sanders chases it down.
Sanders with a nice senior day that he will never, ever forget.
One of 4 Bearcats in double figures. The senior Sanders has 11. Cincinnati is just crushing Memphis on the glass, out rebounding them by 10. Chance of UC with 5 on the shot clock. Johnson, Cocaine, corner 3. Ellis, the offensive board, and a foul. But they've not been able to get it down to single digits.
You dig yourself that kind of a hole on the road, and you're going to have a problem. That's what Memphis did. They played them well after the first 7 or 8 minutes, but just fell into a hole. It's not over yet, but that was a tough one to dig out.
Octavius Ellis with 15 points and 9 rebounds. This is his 4th straight game with at least 8 boards. The Memphis native doing it against the team he grew up rooting for, against the team his dad played for. And he only scored 2 points in the game down in Memphis in January. Ellis has come back with a vengeance tonight. 3 minutes to go. Godfrey with the 4 fouls, spins on Clark, turnaround, and a foul is called on Gary Clark. That's his first.
Godfrey really trying to be aggressive on offense, especially for a guy averaging 4 a game. Now, one of the reasons he's averaging 4 is because they had Austin Nichols, which obviously took a lot of the time in terms of playing inside.
Godfrey trying to get into double figures for the 3rd time this year, and he does. He's got 10. Well, something we talked about off the top, the way that Cincinnati plays defense compared to the amount of fouls they have, which is the 11th fewest in the country. They average 14 fouls per game, only 9 today for the Bearcats.
I'm always impressed with these teams like a Wisconsin, like a Virginia, like Cincinnati, like San Diego State. 4 of the best defensive teams in the country, and they are all amongst the top 10, 11 in least fouls.
Rolling out of play for the Bearcats. Goodwin guarding Cobb. 4 on the shot clock. Ellis blocked by King, but then on the follow, a foul is called, and Ellis is slow to get up. Third foul on King.
Cincinnati has done a great job of finding the holes in the Memphis defense, especially in the second half, because they have done a job of getting that ball inside to Clark and to Ellis in the second half.
We'll consider this an early birthday present for Octavius Ellis. He turns 22 on Tuesday. And He's got 16 points and 9 rebounds as he heads to the line. Game 1 of our triple header today on CBS. It was silent in here at Fifth Third Arena. And Ellis misses the first. Wednesday, the road to the Final Four reaches a critical juncture on CBS Sports Network as one team punches their ticket to the big dance. Don't miss the Patriot League Championship Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern, only on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Ellis 1 of 2 at the line. Memphis needs some instant offense. And a whistle down low away from the ball. And that's going against Gary Clark, his second. Seventh team foul on the Bearcats, so a 1-and-1 for Godfrey.
Larry Davis is kind of wondering what happened there.
Godfrey makes the first. Senior playing at his 4th different college. Started at Iowa State, then went to junior college Howard, last year at Southern, and transferred here to Memphis for his senior season. Passes. Oh boy. Godfrey goes into our table, and he appears to be okay. Don't tell Memphis the game is over.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he was 10 feet more to the right, we'd have been in big trouble.
Godfrey appears to be okay, thankfully. That could have been very scary.
He went flying. That was some hustle there. You know, you're talking about being down 13 with 2 to go, and this kid just gave it. He didn't have any more than that.
Now, coincidentally, the man that he toppled over, that's the seat that Oscar Robertson sits in. That's Oscar's seat. And he been at almost every Cincinnati home game. We don't know why he's not here today. Godfrey could have knocked over Oscar Robertson on a normal day here at Cincinnati.
Oscar hasn't taken a charge in a long time, I can tell you that.
Thankfully, everybody's okay. Goodwin for 3. His second today. Timeout, Memphis. The lead down to 12 with 1:58 to go. Team to 15-7, and if they do win their 5th straight, they will clinch the number 3 seed in the American tournament, which would mean a potential quarterfinal matchup with UConn. Don't forget, coming up next, Illinois State and Northern Iowa, a 2:10 Eastern time tip as King gives the foul. So pick your poison with the American Conference Tournament. Cincinnati could be staring at a quarterfinal matchup against UConn on their home floor. However, if they fell down to the 4, they would play Memphis. Then they could be on SMU's side of the bracket if SMU wins today against Tulsa.
I think I'd rather, even though SMU is the best team in the league, I think I'd rather stay away from UConn, on their home floor. Because that place, I've been to the Hartford Civic Center many times to play them. You might as well be on campus, to be honest with you, in terms of how hard that is to win there. So I would rather avoid UConn, I think, if I had my choice.
Woodson fires from deep. And the rebound to Ellis. He now has a double-double with that rebound. No foul by Memphis yet, and now they do it midcourt. So Memphis will go into the American tournament as the number 5 seed, and assuming they don't come back here, they will face Temple in Friday's quarterfinals. They do have a first-round bye, but again, they'll be without Austin Nichols, and I know how highly you think of Austin Nichols and his potential. It's a major loss for Memphis.
Bro, one of the best centers in the country. I mean, people who haven't seen him, the other thing is Memphis has lost. They're a good defensive team. They're one of the leading shot blocking teams in the country, but not anymore because he was their leading shot blocker. So a lot of what they were all year, they are not now. And not having that guy down low, not only on the defensive end, but also the fact on offense, they had a guy to throw the ball to when things weren't going well who could really score.
Johnson to a cutting Goodwin, and he lays it in for two, and a quick timeout by Memphis. 70 everyone in the stands dressed in red, and the Bearcats wearing red uniforms for the first time this year. Sanders inbounds to Copain. Back to Sanders. And it goes out of bounds to Cincinnati. No foul by Memphis.
I don't blame Memphis for continuing to try here. 13-118. Obviously, you're probably going to lose, but I think giving it a go for a couple of more seconds is not bad.
And now Johnson is fouled.
You know, this was the point my assistants sometimes would say, Coach, you want to sub put somebody? I said, listen, I don't want it to be where they write in a headline tomorrow, Villanova loses 13-point lead with 1:11 to go. I said, yeah, that'll happen to me. I'm not doing that right now.
Well, you would think that Larry Davis, if it stays like this, will try to get Sanders out for a curtain call so he can get a nice ovation from the fans here in his final home game.
Now, that's fine. It's a matter of, are you going to put the walk-ons in the game is really the question.
They do have two walk-ons. That's where you and I differ. As a coach, you don't want to put him in. As a fan, you want to see the walk-ons.
I'll put him in if it's 14 with 30 seconds to go, then I'll put him in.
Then you're not giving him a chance to score, Coach. You're having him dribble it out. That's no fun. Copain to Cobb. Back to Ellis. Would have been pretty. Instead, Ellis will take his two.
I wasn't interested in good TV, man. I just wanted you to know that.
Now you are, though.
Now I am, but no, I wasn't there.
Goodwin is fouled with 45 seconds remaining. How about Ellis? 19 points, 12 rebounds. It's his third double-double this year.
And we saw him have a great game against Central Florida on the offensive end. So this kid is really starting to come on. I can't accentuate enough how much this Cincinnati team has improved lately on the offensive end. And with the way they defend, this team in the NCAA tournament could cause some problems. You know, last year they had Sean Kilpatrick, who was a great player, but they were so centered on him offensively, and it was hard for them to move on.
Here's the ovation for Sanders. Sanders finishes with 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. And they are chanting his name. Thank you, Sanders, is the chant.
Now, here's the point when we coach. I would be like, don't foul anymore because I want to get out of here. So if I'm Josh Padgett, I'm telling my guys, that's it. It's all, don't foul because I would like to leave.
Start the bus?
Just get me out of here. I don't want to have to go through this. 43 seconds. Let's make it go like 43 seconds. Not like a minute and 43 seconds.
Brad Cobb with 16 points. Cincinnati has 77 points today. Their season high is 84. Now a nice hand for Ellis with his third double-double of the year. Godfrey with the finish. Godfrey with a new career high today. He's got 14 points. And did a lot of his work in the second half with 4 fouls. Woodson the steal. And hands it over to King for 2 more. 77-65. A 12-point lead with 20 seconds remaining. And now Josh Pastner is yelling, don't foul. Fifth straight win for Cincinnati. And they have a lot of momentum going into the American Conference Tournament, where they will be the number 3 seed for the quarterfinals. 77-65 is the final. For Steve Lapis, this is Andrew Catalan.